Welcome back to God Speaks. Are you expendable? Expendable pretty much means that, and it sucks to say this, but I don't have a better way to put it at the moment, but expendable almost kind of means like you don't matter, or you don't matter so much when you take into a much bigger perspective, a much bigger picture of things. Being expendable is like you don't matter. And it sucks. It's a sucky topic. So we got to figure out, are you expendable to the bigger picture and really understand what this is and how to become inexpendable? So in every story, in every movie and major plot, you have the main characters and you have the side characters and then you have the off characters, which are just there. They make one appearance or so. Side characters may have some interaction repeatedly in the book, and the main characters are pretty much through and through the whole thing. And we noticed that, the main characters in almost every situation are inexpendable. What I mean by that is they usually make it to the end of the book or the story, and the most main character, always pretty much makes it to the end, or at least is the last to go. There was a superhero CV series, or there is one called DC Legends. And in one of the episodes, as this story deals with time travel, a time travel agent was sent back to a certain period. And I forget exactly what his job was, but he was a mercenary and he was all dressed up and armored up and he had a weapon. And when he got there, there happened to be three guys just walking by. And they were taken aback, of course, by this thing, and he was just sizing them up, and his computers were going off in his screen on his technology. And one of the kids says, "What are you doing?" And he said, "I'm checking to see if you're integral to the timeline." A couple moments passed, and he said, "You are not." And he fired on them. I can only guess, killing them. They were in the wrong place at the wrong time. And when he said, "I'm checking to see if you're integral to the timeline," what he meant was, "I'm checking to see if you're important to the events that are supposed to unfold in this timeline, in this version of reality." And when he said, "You are not," meaning that their life or death really wouldn't matter at that moment, everything else would proceed the way that it was supposed to, he took them out just because they were in his way. Those are the kind of things that can happen when you're expendable. And you're pretty much expendable when, and I mean in life, when you don't contribute or are not contributing to, one of the greater, or I don't want to say greater, to one of the causes or the other causes to a great degree in life. And what I mean by this is positive or negative. I mean, this channel is broken down simply into positive and negative and universal laws, and those things being extracted from religion and scripture. So you have a positive and negative, and you notice that there are major negative players and there are major positive players, and you got some major players that are somewhere in between, but they become important because of what they do or how much they contribute to the situation. Now, obviously, the negative in my world, in my view, in my reality, is going to lose and is losing and is, you know, on the way out. But some of the most powerful negative beings, because of their contribution, do have a level of invincibility around them, or inexpendability. Invincibility, inexpendability, cousins probably around them, meaning that they seem to make it longer. They seem to, dodge all that is coming at them because of how important they are to the overall scheme of that side of things. So, becoming inexpendable and achieving a certain level of invulnerability, if you're like me, entails purposefully becoming more and more positive on purpose every day and every moment because you can. And again, this is reiterated throughout the channel, along with the many different side effects and benefits that it includes. But the more positive that you become, the more light that you emit, the more you raise your frequency and get this light out of you into existence, the more you uplift all of life, the more you become more important to the positive side of things that is now um, taking the lead, taking the lead into harmonizing negativity and into eradicating the most negative and evil off of the planet in order to create a more heaven on earth and enlightened scenario. So this positivity thing is really on a quantum physics and universal laws level very important and very powerful. It really does solve everything when you understand that everything is energy, when you understand that everything is consciousness, and when you understand that the negative things that are being experienced come from the negative, unconscious thoughts, beliefs, feelings, expectations, and desires of humanity. So as you bring yourself up and out of that, you become part of the tidal wave that is washing away the negativity in your whole world. Don't underestimate this. You begin to become inexpendable because you begin to become important. You begin to matter to the greater scheme of things, of what is happening and going on. And so a certain master was asked once in a book, well, how does your teaching, how is it practical? How can it help one to escape harm and disaster or even natural disasters? Are you saying, and he said, what about earthquakes or something like that? And the master said, well, I just wouldn't be there. And at first hearing, this might sound like, oh, well, I'm not an overly negative person, or I'm not, a lot of these things, but yet I experience this, and so that doesn't really pan out. But you got to understand that when I speak of positivity and when I speak of, becoming inexpendable, I mean, like, you're like really raising the level. You're working also on your evolution. Okay, you're working on your evolution and you're becoming more positive and you're becoming more important to the greater scheme of things. You know, a time mercenary would come back and maybe not take you out because you're integral to the timeline. You matter. You matter. You're doing the great work, as they call it, of uplifting all life. And so that's, you really have to have these negative things, first of all, as a possibility within yourself that it can happen. And you got to vibrate to it on some level, one way or another. Positivity also, people talk about karma, and positivity and this inexpendability that I'm talking about also washes away and erases the effects of negative karma. Okay. It pays back the debt. It's like you're turning around and doing the opposite, or doing more and doing better. And so the more you do that, along with pumping out better, greater positivity, positive energy, even the karma is being erased. And so, yes, at a certain point in this journey, you would not be there, or you would become so powerful that your very presence negates, undoes, prevents those things from happening, because it's so much not a part of your consciousness, not a part of your beliefs or possibility, and your energy is beyond the experience of such a thing. So, are you expendable? Do you matter to the greater scheme of things? If you feel like you are, then keep watching these videos. Learn how to become inexpendable. Learn how to become and gain levels of invincibility, invulnerability. Learn how to change your world for the better. This has been God Speaks. I hope this video has uplifted you and enlightened you, and I hope that you will use it for the greatest good. Peace.